Hello class. This video is going to focus on 2.1, which is writing and interpreting equations. The goal of this video is I can translate sentences into equations. And you want to open your textbook to page 65 where you will begin to take notes. So a mathematical statement that contains two expressions and an equal sign is an equation. So for writing equations, we have 3 steps to follow. Number 1, identify each unknown and assign a variable to it. A variable, remember, is a letter. Step 2, identify the givens and their relationships. And then step 3, write the sentence as an equation. Okay, this is the think about it on this page. What distinguishes an expression from an equation? So think about it, pause the video, and then come back for the answer. So the difference between an expression and an equation is that an equation has an equal sign. So an equation okay, so an equation has an equal sign, the expression does not. Okay, example 1, write an equation for a sentence. This is going to be on page 65. So we have 20 minus the quotient of 7 and x is the same as twice x. So if you lost your operation sheet from the last module, I put it on Google Classroom, so you can just open it in Google Classroom if you need it when you're doing the practice. Okay, so it says recall that a quotient is the result of division. So we have 20 minus, so that would be 20 with the minus sign. And then quotient means division, so we're going to do 7 divided by x. And I always like to show my division as a fraction because in algebra, that's usually how you're going to see it. And then is the same as, that's our equal sign. And then twice x means 2 times x, or just 2x. Those mean the same thing. Okay, so then the equation is 20 minus 7 over x equals 2x. Okay, so this is the check also on page 65. Write an equation for the sentence. We've got 4 times a number less 10 is equal to 16. So 4 times a number, that is going to be 4 times a variable. So in this case, they give us multiple choice and they are using x. So I'm going to use x. So 4 times x, or just 4x. Less 10 is minus 10 is equal to, that's our equal sign, and then 16. Okay, so we just have to pick the one that matches that. So 4x minus 10 equals 16. And that's going to be A. Okay, example 2, write an equation. This is on page 66. So of 799 teens surveyed about what they do online, some use a social network. Of those on a social network, 430 say people their age are mostly kind online, and the remaining 193 do not. Write an equation to find the number of teens surveyed who are not on a social network. Okay, so what we are trying to find is number of teens surveyed not on a social network. Okay, so step 1, we want to identify each unknown and assign a variable to it. So our unknown is what we're trying to find, and we're going to let that equal n. So n is the number of teens surveyed who are not on a social network. Step 2, identify the givens and their relationship. So we have 799 teens were surveyed. Some number of teens use a social network. 430 of those on a social network say people their age are mostly kind online, and then the other 193 do not. So that means that 430 and 193 make up the group on a social network, and then the rest of the 799 surveyed are not on a social network. Okay, so we are going to write the sentence as an equation. So the sum of the teens on a social network, so remember that is going to be the sum of teens on a social network. That is the people who were surveyed. So there's the 430 plus you have the 193. So that's the sum of those people. And then those not on a social network, that's going to be n. So the rest of the 799. And the total is equal to 799. Okay, so that is our equation. Okay, this is example 2, the check, also on page 66. E2 has read 12 of the 32 chapters in his assigned book. Okay, so we know that he's already read 12. And then we also know that there's 39 total. So something 12, and then there's going to be some more stuff, and it's going to equal, 32, not 39, 32. Okay, he plans to finish the book by reading C chapters each day for 8 days. Okay, so in addition to the 12 that he's already read, he's going to read C chapters each day for 8 days. So that means for 8 days, he's going to read C. So 8 times C, and then that's going to be equal to 32. So then we just have to pick the one that matches at the closest. So 12 plus 8C equals 32. That would be C. Okay, that is the end of 2.1a. Remember, you need to get at least a 75% on the quiz for this video in order to move on.